Hello, Taurus, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a reading for January 2023, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future. As you can see, I've already gone ahead and pulled the oracle cards and clarified those, so we can jump right in. I have my tarot deck, and then in the extended, I will have a clarifying deck and an advice card to pull. Any information on the extended, as well as any questions for a personal reading, all that information is in the description box below. All right, in your recent past, you have hold your vision with the Eight of Pentacles. So this is about something that you are building. Either you're building towards or you're building something, whether that be a relationship, a business, a career, a foundation, mentally, I'm not quite sure yet, but that's something that you've been working on possibly for a while, or you just recently started, actually. I feel like this is new. But it's something you've wanted for a while. In your current energy, you have the communication is key with the Hermit. So I actually had to restart this reading. I just wasn't in a good headspace, and so I reshuffled the cards just to make sure. And it's funny because this same middle card here talked about communication. It wasn't the communication is key card. It said something like adjustments are required, and then it had the Page of Swords in reverse, and I channeled that as communication issues. And so what I see here, the biggest theme in your life right now at this moment in your current energy is communication. Now, whether or not you realize that's a problem, I'm not sure. But with the Hermit, it's almost like something you need to take a look at, something that is an issue or a blockage or something to that extent that needs to be addressed. In your immediate future, you have be bold to make the first move with the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords also, to me, being a card of speaking your truth. To me, the Queen of Swords is a card of learning to speak from a place of balance between your head and your heart. Learning to bring love into communication while also standing in your power. And so I feel like this is an interesting way to start this reading, because it feels like maybe you don't think there's something that you need to change about the way you communicate, but the way you communicate has been causing issues for you that you might not be aware of. So let's take a look here. This is for Taurus recent past, clarifying hold your vision. Recent past for Taurus, clarifying hold your vision. It's possible to set boundaries with love, and to not have to come from a place of defensiveness. It's possible to defend yourself without being defensive. I think that's a good way to put that. But let's see here. Okay, so you have the Lovers with the Three of Swords in reverse. In your recent past, there was, now whether this has been taken care of or not, because the way that I also do, yes, it's recent past, current energy, and immediate future, but the way that I kind of see it coming out is, here's the problem and the focus that we have for the reading. Here's kind of the solution or what needs to be done, or the how this is affecting you, and then your immediate future is more kind of the outcome of the situation if you are to kind of act from a place of the advice that the universe has to give. And so in your recent past, there was this need for forgiveness of some sort of past situation. So your recent past was a focus of your past. Because with the Emperor in reverse, there was a lot of controlling going on, meaning you were coming from a place of trying to control your surroundings. Now, usually that means that you feel you have to protect yourself. You feel like it's this you against the world, or you against, someone kind of person, and you against some person, and the universe doesn't have your back in a way. Because here's the World card, meaning that this is definitely a cycle for you, and this has a lot to do with your, stability. The word foundation is coming through a lot for me. But let me get more here. So there was this need to forgive, this need to kind of heal some sort of past situation, while also holding on to the hope that what you ultimately want, I'm guessing it's out of love, is possible. You have the Judgment with the Justice in reverse. The Justice in reverse, it actually came out in your recent past, in that first reading I did. And the way that I see this, right now you already have two major arcanas for your recent past. So whatever situation we're dealing with here, it's a big lesson for you. It's a big situation. It impacts your life in a heavy way. With the Justice in reverse, this is it's imbalanced karma. So there's some part of the situation where either you haven't received what you deserve. That's what it is. It's you haven't received what you deserve from some situation. Now, whether that be an apology or a I feel like apology. I feel like that's because there's this level of like anger in your recent past. But that anger, because yeah, you haven't received something you deserve from some past situation, and that has caused a lot of resentment to build up. Now, that resentment might be towards one specific person, but you, in some way, have actually kind of like internalized that as resentment for like like yourself almost. Like maybe you're mad at yourself for still being frustrated about a situation, or you're upset with yourself about having put yourself through a situation that you went through. Um, so what that I think that's what this is coming down to is you're holding a lot of, of a lot of anger, frustration, resentment for somebody else, but it's directly impacting your relationship with yourself. That's why, one of the hardest lessons I learned on this journey, and am very much still learning, is that forgiving other people is actually a form of forgiving yourself. Because yes, you can be upset with somebody for hurting you and, making you feel a certain way and treating you a certain way. But at the end of the day, the more anger and frustration and resentment you hold against someone, the more that you are giving that person power over you to continue to hurt you, even though they're not in your life anymore. And if you're dealing with something like some sort of energy vampire or something like that, then you are giving them exactly what they want. Because what I'm looking at here is there's this with a judgment. You aren't seeing the truth of a situation to some extent. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but there's like, you aren't seeing, there's like anger blocking the way that you're viewing something. That's essentially what I'm, and maybe it's because it's something that you spent so much time building, and so you feel frustrated with the fact that you invested so much into something that ended up being not what you thought it was. But then you have hold your vision. So what you ultimately are wanting is possible. There's just, some adjustments here that need to be made. But let's see, recent past. King of Wands, Devil, King of Cups in reverse, and the Moon. So that's exactly it. Your emotions are overriding your ability to see a situation from a practical lens. There's definitely some devil energy here. Now, devil energy to me is a lot of things. It can be fear, it can be uh, you know, addiction, codependency, but it ultimately always stems from a place of attachment. So I don't know if there's an attachment to a certain King of Wands here. So that would be a fire sign. Doesn't have to be, but fiery energy, very assertive energy. Um, there's either attachment to someone that needs to be let go, or there's an attachment to the way that someone treated you and an expectation of that to always just be the case. So, and this could be multiple situations that have happened for you where you're saying, oh, well, I get in a relationship or I get in a situation or I get in a position and things always turn out like this. Now, remember, our expectations create our reality. What we believe or what we think becomes our belief system. Our belief system becomes how we act, and our actions then become our reality. And so, the more that we believe something to the tune of, things always happen this way for me, or nothing ever works out for me, or I always get treated this way, or I always get cheated on, or whatever the case is, that has become a belief for you that that's just the way things will always be. And to a certain extent, I feel like that's why there's been this level of not being able to communicate what you need and what you desire, because you actually don't believe that your needs and your desires are possible, in regard to this situation, because you've always experienced one thing and that has led you to believe that that's always going to be the case. Now, where this belief stemmed from might not be your fault, right? It could be the way that you watched a relationship unfold in childhood, or the way that your parents, you had the relationship that you had with your parents. It's not your fault that you've gained a belief system that is in alignment with this, but it is your responsibility to heal whatever it is that's keeping you stuck in this cycle of believing things aren't going to work out for you, so that when things don't work out for you, you go, oh yeah, well I knew that was going to be the case. This is always the case. It becomes, it's really easy to put off that blame and say this is everyone else's fault. Now, I don't really believe in fault. Obviously, I think that some people can make decisions that really aren't good, but I do believe that there are multiple people involved in every situation. When I used to do love readings in the past, or I would do your energy of the person that you're dealing with, and then the truth of the connection. And I would always say there are three sides to every story: your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and kind of the unbiased truth of a connection. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because this isn't to say you're right or wrong in your beliefs. Your emotions and your experiences are always going to be valid. However, a lot of times when we're dealing with a situation, we might not be able to really understand where someone else is coming from, because we are so stuck viewing something from the lens of what we're dealing with. Um, don't really, and that's where I feel like, I was gonna say, I don't really know why I felt the need to say that, but then I saw this communication is key card, and it's almost like there's this lack of communication because there's this level of, oh, they should already know, but then on the flip side, they feel like they don't know because they haven't really heard it from you. I don't really know what that means, but there's this level of like not expressing your truth, but then expecting other people to know your truth, which is 100% okay. And that's the whole thing. And that's the whole part of this, spiritual journey, is learning to speak your truth from a place of compassion without, fear of judgment or misunderstanding or whatever it is. Okay, current energy for Taurus. This reading feels all over the place. So I hope this is resonating for somebody out there. There's the Page of Cups in reverse with the Emperor in reverse. So that's the whole thing here. There's this, so because there's this need to heal from something. And I feel like whatever this Lovers is, this is like pretty recent. This isn't a childhood thing. This is a pretty recent situation that went down. Um, and I feel like you went through this situation and you like kind of came out of it going, why does this always happen? Why do things always work out this way? Why is the outcome always this? But then this Emperor in reverse situation kind of, or card, keeps popping up here to say, your whether or not you realize it, and this is a hard truth to have to always, in any situation like this, to have to come to terms with, you are manifesting the same situation over and over again without even really realizing that that's what you're doing. And a lot of it, for some reason, it comes down to this level of like not speaking your truth into existence, like not standing up for yourself, not standing up for what you deserve or you believe in. And I also feel like there's a level of you that hasn't sat down and really said, okay, this is what I want out of a relationship or a career, out of my life. You've kind of just been hoping that whatever's placed in front of you is going to work out. Again, very common way of living. But the best part of a spiritual journey is breaking out of the trap of believing that the world will never provide you with your desires or your needs. That was a lot there, but I just feel like there's this level of not realizing what's possible for you because you've experienced a certain way of things, like you've experienced things being a certain way for so long. Now remember, this is a general reading, take it as it resonates, but it feels very like stuck in a never-ending cycle kind of thing. Okay, current energy for Taurus. There's the Hierophant. So there's a new beginning available for you. Your vision, a new beginning of like almost like oh, interesting. This communication, okay, we're going to get real spiritual here for a second. This communication, it is absolutely about you speaking your truth, but there's some sort of a message that you need to hear, that the universe wants you to hear, because you have, and it's different. It's not a message that's coming through me. There's something that needs to be like through maybe meditation or journaling, some sort of, like for me the Hierophant, like some sort of wisdom that either, but with communication is key. There's something the universe is trying to communicate to you, and it's trying to communicate it to you through this cycle. Interesting. That's really interesting. Because there's that world card. Again, there's that cycle. So this is about a cycle. And then there's the artist card, which is like the card of kind of co-creating your life. So it's almost like the universe is trying to show you that you're not a victim. You meh, hang on a second. This doesn't mean you haven't been in a situation where you're a victim. This just means that there's a level of you that believes that being the victim is always going to be the case. Like you're always going to find yourself feeling that way. Um, but it's a mindset. It's like you expect that. You expect to get hurt. You expect things to pan out a certain way. And the universe is trying to say, as long as you expect that, you're going to continue to experience it. Our expectation becomes our reality. But that's why, I mean, it's so hard to change. You can't change belief systems overnight. That's why there's so much healing involved. All right, current energy here. So it's something about your past. There's a Six of Cups in reverse. Something from your past. So this is childhood. Okay. Wow. It took us a little bit to get here. Thanks for sticking with me if you did. I understand what's going on here. They were coming in bits and pieces and I was trying to figure out. So, okay. Your childhood, something going on in your childhood, or like your perception of the world around you since childhood has been one way, and that one way wasn't, it's not your fault. You experienced something as a kid, or maybe you just had certain relationships as a kid that have made you realize or come to believe that relationships are a certain way. I'm not exactly what that way is. That's going to be more, that would be where this is a general reading and I can't get too specific, but there've been certain way that you viewed relationships, and I guess this is a love reading, and the perception that you have of how a relationship should be or usually is has impacted your ability to attract one that aligns with your vision, with what it is you truly want. Because there's a level of you that doesn't actually know what you truly want out of a relationship because your expectations have been the way that things have always been. And this has a lot to do with like your foundation of your life. So when I talk about a foundation, if you're familiar with tarot readings, then you're familiar with, say, the Tower card. The Tower card being that card of things kind of falling away for new things to come into place. Now, one of the most important aspects of a spiritual journey is creating a foundation so that if something needs to fall away for something better to come along, you still have the foundation so that your world doesn't crumble. Now, that foundation takes a really long time to build because it has to be in alignment with your authentic self. And to find our authentic self, we have to uncover all of the reasons we haven't been aligned with our authentic self because of what this world has taught us. And so this is the falling away. This is you learning that there's a level of your belief system that needs to get removed and replaced with more optimistic and self-love aligned beliefs. Now, this is something that you either aren't aware of or aren't wanting to face. And that's the hardest part of learning about the law of attraction and how it impacts your life is the hardest. And that's why I said this, the hard truth is really truly taking responsibility and saying, okay, my present circumstances are merely a result of my past way of thinking and believing, And that sucks because that means that I have not believed that I deserve good things for myself. I have not believed that I'm capable of success or love or a healthy relationship or whatever the case is. And therefore, I've attracted what aligns with that belief. And that's a hard truth to come to terms with because it's like, well, how have I created these situations for myself? Now, remember, there's so much more involved than just that, but to put the control back in your hands, you can also say, okay, if I am here today because of my past way of thinking and believing, that means I can be where I want to be tomorrow as long as I align myself with new beliefs. Those new beliefs being your truths, which I feel like we're going to jump here in your immediate future to talk about. I like this reading. It's taking a while. It's a very long reading, but all right, immediate future for Taurus. So something from your past has really impacted um, the way you view relationships and what those relationships mean. So your immediate future, because there's that Three of Swords. There's a new beginning here. Okay, there's an opportunity that you want that aligns with your vision. And it's not something you've ever invested in before. It's not a relationship from your past. It's not a career from your past. It's something brand new. But the problem is there's a need to move away from this Three of Swords that we saw in your recent past. This heartbreak, this hurt that you've experienced. Honestly, this is time and time again. This is hurt that you keep acquiring through relationships. And that doesn't just have to be romantic relationships. It can be friendships. It can be I don't know why I'm touching my hair so much. I don't usually do that. It doesn't have to be relationships, like romantic relationships. It can be friendships, familial relationships. There's a need to heal from what has happened in the past because there's that star in reverse. That's a need. That's another need for healing. But that healing is very out of your comfort zone. So when this is talking about communication here, it's very interesting because when I first started talking, I do believe that it does have to do with communication with somebody else. Absolutely. But any of our external circumstances always stem from our internal world. So this to me is actually communication with yourself. This, because that makes sense. The hermit, being, this has to do with how you speak to yourself. Remember that your words hold so much power, and whether or not you can understand or grasp or truly believe the concept of the law of attraction, the fact that your words and what you put into existence becomes reality, that is the truth of things. I mean, I know it in my own personal life. I've watched it happen in other people's lives. Your words hold so much power, and there's this need here to take a look. And this is why I was saying this isn't communication from me. This isn't a message from me. This is looking at the way that you communicate with yourself and how that has manifested into your reality. But the way you communicate with yourself has stemmed from the way you either watched others communicate with you or watched others communicate with each other. Because this isn't like this isn't a new energy. This is a cycle that has gone on for so long. My hair is driving me absolutely insane. I just got it cut and it's like really, really soft. Just driving me crazy. Okay. Sorry. Um, in your immediate future now, because you do have Be Bold to make the first move with the Queen of Swords, the way that I'm reading this is there's this need to discover your truths. Discover what it is you want to align with. I deserve love. I deserve financial abundance. I deserve to feel respected. I deserve to feel appreciated. What are your truths? What do you deserve and what do you desire? Because those are one and the same. But you have to get to a point where you believe you deserve what you desire. And it has to come down to what do you believe, or what do you want to be deserving of? What do you want your life to look like? What are your truths? Because this to me is a level of kind of acting from a place of, it's that victim mentality. But this isn't me saying that you are like, you have a victim mentality. Everybody does. Everybody does. Everybody believes that this world is out to get us, out to get them for the most part, right? This is about learning to believe that the universe is on your side and will provide you. But the thing is the move you have to make is discovering and learning your truth. And it comes down to the way, reframing the way that you speak to yourself, whether that be in your head, out loud, when you look in the mirror, whatever it is, that is impacting things so much more than you realize. Because it's not allowing you to build the way that you are wanting to build. Because remember, this has to do with what you're wanting to create. Okay, immediate future for Taurus. I know this is a kind of a lengthy read, guys. Immediate future for Taurus, but a lot to say. Immediate future for Taurus. The Three of Cups. With the Temperance in reverse. So things are possible. It's possible for things to come together for you here in a way that is very unexpected. But with the Temperance in reverse, there's this like lack. When I say lack, so it's a lack of patience. But when I say lack of patience, I don't mean that you're impatient. I mean that there's a level of investing in like, it's like when you're dating someone or dating around, like this isn't what is happening. This is just the best way to explain this energy. When you're dating around and you finally meet someone that's like, okay, like you're like, God, I've been on however many dates and I've met up with however many people and I met this person and he's not really, I don't really, we didn't really get along that well, but he was super nice to me. And so I'm going to keep dating him, just kind of see where it's going. And then a couple months pass by and you're like, yeah, my feelings didn't really change. I still kind of, feel like this isn't the perfect fit for me, but I'm going to stay in this because I'm so afraid of nothing better coming along. So it's settling, right? There's a level of you that settles for what you have because you don't believe you deserve more. You don't have to settle. You never have to settle. But it has to do, it comes down to like what you believe you deserve in a certain way. Immediate future for Taurus. I really want to know if this is resonating for anyone because this has been all over the place for me. There's something, you're stuck in your comfort zone right now. And your comfort zone is not believing that you are in control. You have to release your control of your circumstances and gain control of your internal world in order to make things better. You're still focused on trying to control your external world, hoping that it's going to change the way you feel about yourself internally. And that's just it's never going to be the case. There's a level of you feeling undeserving, you feeling like you aren't capable of something, you feeling, I'm not exactly sure. It's going to depend because this is a general reading, but there's this level of like not believing that there is better for you out there. And it comes down, there's something about communication, how you speak to yourself, which is how you speak to others, which impacts how others view you. It's like others aren't able to see the real you because you're the way that you speak, the way that you communicate, it's aligning more with the hurt side of you and not the confident, powerful side of you. And it's all stemming from the way that you speak to yourself. Glad we got there because that was a little jumbly there for a second. I hope that this resonated with you guys out there. I'm going to hop on over to the extended. We're going to dive in and clarify these messages. Since this is a general reading, we can get a little bit more specific in the extended. And then I have this advice card myself. What is it? My Soul Truth Self-Awareness deck. I used this all the time when I was a tarot reader before, so I'm so excited to break it out again. I just got it in the mail yesterday. So, all right, guys, thank you so much, and I hope to see you again in future readings. Bye, Taurus.